And we're live. So, welcome everyone to another episode of the Virtual Bacon live stream. There's no episode number, but welcome everyone. So, we should be live now on Virtual Bacon YouTube, Bacon DAO YouTube, Bacon DAO Twitter, Virtual Bacon Twitter, as well as our Discord. And thanks to StreamYard for making this amazing tool that we're able to use. This is actually very standard for streams in crypto. Honestly works so well, way better than OBS even. I've been a long-term OBS user, but this is so much cleaner because it allows me to stream from the cloud anywhere instead of having to set up every time. Okay, so as usual, today we're going to do an hour of stream starting from now. I'll put a timer on, and we will go through the markets, specifically like usual, we'll do Bitcoin analysis, Ethereum analysis, Bitcoin dominance analysis, and then follow up on the altcoins that we have been looking at. So that's pretty much the standard from now on. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So let me share screen here. Okay, that's our Discord, but let me bring up Bitcoin analysis, trading view. Oh, here we go. So that's Atom, that's not Bitcoin, but that's something we'll walk through. Right, so I think this was the level we were watching on Monday, right? I haven't checked this chart since Monday. Looking very good. This bounce is starting. Obviously, we still have to make sure we stay above 38K here, which is the previous higher low here. So if you just Google like uptrend, right? I'll bring that up again. Uptrend, higher low. Right. What makes the absolute basics of technical analysis, right? Technical analysis comes from following trends, whether it's up or down or sideways. So how do you define when we're in an uptrend? Is with a series of higher highs and higher lows like this. More importantly, right, the higher highs aren't as significant, but the higher lows are even more significant. So in order for the uptrend to continue, we need to see every dip stay above the previous higher low. So if we break below the previous higher low, then the uptrend pretty much stops. At that point, you want to either take profit or exit or like act accordingly. So here, looking at side by side here for Bitcoin, right? Ever since 30K, we have had first higher low here, and then this is kind of all iffy, but I think a very clear higher low in the long term is this one here, which if you map kind of the very bottom of it here, right? This is the previous higher low that we need to hold above, and putting a horizontal line right there. That's right around 38K, right? So that's why on the Monday stream we said, this could be a short-term correction, but as long as it's holding above, as long as this dip holds above right here, 38K, we're still healthy, right? Still treating this as buy the dip opportunity, and that's why we on the Monday stream we were talking about the altcoins we bought the dips on, which we'll go over again today. So far so good. I would say the level to buy at is not 38K, right? So because that's the kind of the bottom line to watch. But the buy zone that I kind of mapped out on Monday was this. So how did I come to these levels? Firstly, the top of this consolidation range, as you see these four red or black bars here, this was the range where price currently previously traded on the previous correction. So the top here and the bottom here make up this range. And also on the daily chart, if we do an exponential moving average for 200-day, you see that this level very closely fits, right in this range, right? Also, the 21 weekly EMA is right around 42.5K ish as well. So that's why, the 42.5 was around when you could start buying, and that's why that's the first level that I was watching. And then I'm willing to wait for this dip to go as low as 38, but not lower, right? So that's kind of the analysis. So far, so good, definitely not in the clear yet, right? So in this kind of correction, what do we need to do in order to make sure that this kind of correction is over? The safest case is if we at least break above this, the top of this previous rally here, right? So there is a bit of resistance ahead at 48, right? But in order for this uptrend to clearly resume, we need to break above 52.6. But yeah, so far so good. So I'm waiting to see again how this plays out. I am treating this as buy the dip opportunity, so I'm starting to heavily enter into altcoins, which we'll go over in a bit. But bottom line is watching 38K here for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin breaks below 38K, I'll probably reconsider a lot of my altcoin positions. But so far so good. Now moving on to Ethereum, ETH/USDT. Again, so Ethereum, we're watching 2.9K here, right around this red line, which was the 3 tests of resistance here, as well as kind of 3 tests as support here. So this level was the level that I started to buy at. Obviously, we didn't have a tight stop loss for Ethereum versus USD because Ethereum might continue to drop, right? If the market stays kind of hesitant, but that's mostly because of Bitcoin. So for all of my altcoin positions that I'll cover right now in this call, the stop losses will depend on Bitcoin's movement, not really individual altcoins moves. Because as long as Bitcoin still shows us that this is a short-term correction, altcoins may continue to drop, but I'm very confident in picking them up. But if Bitcoin itself shows that we are breaking into a longer-term downtrend, then that's no good, right? So, so that's what we need to watch. So yeah, Ethereum started to buy at 2.9K. Will continue to accumulate pretty much on a daily basis. Moving on to ETH BTC, and I'll just change the banner here. So ETH BTC is also important to watch, right? So because ETH is relatively, not relatively, but the second largest coin, right? Its individual performance against Bitcoin is also interesting to watch because ETH is inherently more volatile than Bitcoin. So in order for us to, even if you are bullish in crypto in general and you are holding Bitcoin, you think it'll go up, it still only makes sense if ETH can outperform Bitcoin in order for you to be in ETH. Otherwise, you might as well just be in Bitcoin. All right. So for that, we need to watch for the ETH BTC chart, so ETH versus Bitcoin. And here you see on the Monday call, we covered these 2 bull flags here. So again, same analysis as before with the uptrend. I'm not sure if I still have that. No, I don't. So in order for ETH to continue outperforming Bitcoin and leading Bitcoin, at least in the kind of upward potential, right? We need to continue seeing ETH BTC in an uptrend. So that means higher highs and higher lows. The previous higher low here, right, was right around 0.065. And that's why I had this level drawn at 0.065 and said, yes, this is still bullish on ETH BTC, but if this continues to drop and drop below 0.065, then this is not so good of a sign for ETH versus Bitcoin, and I will probably switch my ETH into Bitcoin at that point, because even if I'm overall bullish in the market in general, if ETH versus BTC drops too much, that just means that, okay, ETH is again lagging behind Bitcoin. In which case, right, even if I were bullish overall, my money is better kept in Bitcoin versus ETH. simply because it's a period where ETH is kind of lagging behind, and I don't want to take on extra risk for no reason. So that's ETH BTC, closely watching 0.065. Again, we're not there yet, so I'm still holding ETH because it's still bullish against Bitcoin. And okay, so moving on to Bitcoin dominance. I'm sure Bitcoin dominance has had even stronger pullback. That's interesting. Okay, so on Monday, we were targeting this, at least on the 4 hour, you see there was a short-term uptrend here. If I can draw a trend line right here, where Bitcoin dominance was seeing a short-term reversal with a first low and then another lower low being made, but then higher lows being made. So this is a typical short-term reversal pattern because this is on 4 hour. So I said we could potentially see 45% being tested, but I didn't exit any altcoins. Instead, I said if we touch 45%, that would be a larger across the board altcoin dip, in which case more the merrier, right? I would still be buying those dips. We see that altcoins are already starting to pull back. This is actually very interesting. So there's a bit of a double top here, M pattern on very short term for Bitcoin dominance. So even better sign that tells us that altcoins are still holding strong, even in this correction, right? Since about Monday, right? Altcoins kind of stopped dropping against Bitcoin already. So let's say Bitcoin goes down 5%, altcoin only will also goes down 5%, which is a really good sign. And we can deduce that from observing this sideways move here for Bitcoin dominance. So this tells me that we made a great call, that buying the altcoins at dips was a great call. Altcoins aren't really losing too much valuation against Bitcoin, and because we, from our analysis, we think Bitcoin is just in a short-term correction, altcoins should bounce back really quick soon. Okay, so that's Bitcoin dominance. And just to recap, the long-term Bitcoin dominance chart is still clearly downtrending, right? From the very long term. So dating back to pretty much weekly chart, right? Ever since right here in beginning of this year, January of 2021. Sorry, just getting a call here. One sec. Call you back. Doing live stream right now. Okay. So pretty much from the beginning of 2021, right, we've had Bitcoin dominance being in a major downtrend until the May correction. And then we had a bit of a consolidation here with a rising wedge. Typically, this kind of pattern is a continuation pattern with a wedge that goes against the trend. So in this case, because the previous trend is down, following the breakout, the next trend is also likely to be down. And that's what we saw here, right when kind of Bitcoin started to recover. Probably cleanest on the daily chart. Yeah. Right around this spot, right? This was the perfect time to enter into altcoins, like we discussed. And then you see this trend that followed is still going down. So the long-term trend for Bitcoin dominance is still down, which means we're still in a very long-term alt season. So despite any sort of short-term corrections here, I'm still treating these as buying opportunities for altcoins and haven't taken profits from any of my altcoin positions, which we'll go over in a bit. So that's Bitcoin dominance. Actually, yeah, to switch that. Okay, moving on to okay, 15 minutes in. We're good on time. So some of the altcoin plays that we were watching on Monday, and I think I made a TikTok about this already. We got CoinMarketCap. And so aside from ETH, which is a clear, altcoin to hold right now, we were going down the market list to find altcoins that are worth getting into right now. As I saw a bit of lag. Yeah. As you go down the market cap list, the smaller the market cap, the more volatile the asset is, which means this is just more fluctuation. Doesn't necessarily mean more downside, but as the market cap gets smaller and smaller, each altcoin will have less potential downside and less potential upside. More potential downside and more potential upside. So then it becomes, okay, what's the ratio between the potential upside and the potential downside? So this is the key to watch for how much potential there is for an altcoin and how worth it is, right? So we went through Solana, AVAX, Luna, Algorand, Atom, right? So those were kind of the these all and Kusama as well. So these all fit into the narrative that's hot right now, which is layer 1 protocols, layer 1 blockchains. So let's do that again and see how they're doing. So firstly, it was Solana, right? Which on the market caps is number 7. So we were watching that. Even though, yes, Solana is a very technically strong project, and in an alt season, Solana is very likely to do well. We watched that, okay, it's already had a huge pump since, for the past month, basically. Since it broke above the previous all-time high at $55, it has peaked at $200, right? So just taking the potential downside here, right? If you enter right here, the potential downside to the previous all-time high is around 65%. That doesn't mean that it will necessarily drop that much, right? For all we know, it could continue to go up and do a 5x, 10x. Like anything is possible, right? But we have to do comparative analysis within the same niche and compare these other layer 1 protocols in order to see which ones haven't popped up so much yet, like Solana, right? So that's why this number is very key to keep in mind here. That it's 63% since the all-time high, right? And also conversely, if you look at kind of August 20th-ish, when it broke above the previous all-time high, it rallied about a 4x, right? From, let's say 3.5x, from $55 to $200. So these two metrics are the benchmark that we want to watch for kind of the strongest type of performers. Now, moving down to the next contender here, I'm skipping Polkadot because it's not as hot right now, right? The parachains are still up and coming. So the next one on the list is Avalanche, based on market cap. So Avalanche, AVAX USDT, you see that it has, let's just put it side by side with Solana here. So USDT, this will make it much clearer. Where are my charts? All right, whatever. So you see that the previous all-time high for AVAX on the left here was $55, right? And the previous all-time high for Solana here, also $55, right? Right here. So you see that Solana has already broken above its previous all-time high and rallied about 3.5x, right? Versus AVAX here, it has just broken above that, right? So that's why when you do comparative analysis, you start to see, okay, yes, Solana is a great project, right? But what's better risk to reward wise right now? And looking at these two charts alone, clearly I see that it's AVAX, right? Just in comparison. Not talking about fundamentals, not talking about their technology, not talking about what they're used for, but just purely price performance, right? Because Solana has already rallied so much in the past month, while AVAX has just started that rally. That's why, a better bet within the same niche of layer 1 protocols, AVAX is a better bet than Solana right now. Now, So looking at AVAX alone, on Monday's call, we were watching the $55 level for buying the dip, right? This was the previous all-time high. And on Monday, we were right at this level, right? So I made a TikTok video about this as well, where the first breakout above the previous all-time high is typically a good entry opportunity, where it just starts to enter price discovery. And you see, this is so far so good, right? We have already started to bounce from this level. Zoom in a little bit here. Take this out. Right, previous all-time high at 55, right? Brief touch here, and we're already starting to bounce from it. Obviously, still yet to see, if it can actually follow as strongly as Solana and do something like 3.5x. But so far, so good. And stop loss for this, right? I would put it right below the previous higher low here, following the same higher highs and higher low in an uptrend kind of pattern, which is, let's say, right around $30, right? This would be my stop loss. Okay, so moving on down the market cap list, we also looked at Terra, right, which is number 14th. The ticker for Terra is Luna, so Luna USDT. Very similar thing, right? So the previous all-time high for Luna was right around $22. And we didn't exactly dip to that level. In fact, we stopped right at like 24, but close enough, right? I didn't personally get an entry in this because I was really targeting anything in this box at the previous all-time high. But still, comparatively, this is still a better bet than Solana, right? And anything that has already popped off huge above its previous all-time high. So yeah, very similar scenario to AVAX, right? Just broke above its previous all-time high at $22. Have had a retest around this range. So I would say anything around $22 is a buy for me. Same kind of scenario, targeting like something like 3.5x above the previous all-time high. If Bitcoin can like actually make the bounce back and not break into a downtrend. So that's Luna. And just so you guys know, all of these coins fit into the same narrative of layer one blockchains that is one of the hottest narrative right now, right? So Solana, AVAX, Terra, Cosmos, Algorand, Phantom, right? All of these ones fit together. Kusama. I'm skipping Polkadot here because Polkadot isn't live yet, right? So that's the main reason. Next up down the list, we have Algorand. ALGO USDT. Same thing here, right? We had these these circles drawn from Monday, and this level, the previous all-time high at $1.70, drawn on Monday, and you see that we have already started to bounce from here. So far, so good. Not gonna, reiterate too much, right? It's the same pattern, same as AVAX, same as Luna. Better bet than Solana, but hopefully these can all kind of rally much higher as it breaks above the previous all-time highs. And then down the list again, next one up is Cosmos or Atom. Atom USDT. Same thing here. Yeah, so we had this box drawn for Monday. Previous all-time high between like $28 to $30 because, these peaks aren't exactly horizontal or aren't exactly parallel or at the exact same level. So I drew kind of the two previous peaks and gave kind of entry range, and you see bounces so far has been very strong. So hope you guys were able to profit off of these. What was the kind of profit from this? Yeah, so decent 27%, right? So I'm holding personally all of these layer ones. I'm not holding any Solana right now, just for the pure reason that there are better plays risk to reward wise, as we've covered. But yeah, nothing against it if you are holding it. Fundamentally speaking, they're all very strong. Okay, so that's the layer one protocol scene and that narrative. I would say last contender here would be KSM that I'm also holding. Because KSM is Kusama's native token, and the Kusama parachain auctions are live right now. And in order to actually join the network, these parachains need to hold KSM tokens in order to get a slot. And that's why there's clear buying demand for KSM. And so this is another layer 1 protocol that I've been watching. And again, right, we're watching the same scenario for a series of higher highs and higher lows. And so far, so good. This higher low is still being respected. And my entry range that I gave on Monday was between $270 to $340. So far, so good. We're still in that range. Okay, moving on to some of the medium risk picks. So these are more picks, at least after the 50th market cap range, right? Just because as the market cap goes down more, the risk gets higher, but the reward also gets higher, right? Let me just check. Wonka says, want to cover Atom? Yeah, I just did. Okay, so the first pick that we were watching was Olympus DAO, right? So for that, we have to actually go on CoinGecko. And so Olympus DAO is a rebasing coin, which means the real performance that you need to watch, the metric, is actually the market cap instead of the price. So here, type in Olympus DAO. Come on. Oh, man, this is a big reason why I've been using CoinMarketCap more. Is just like CoinGecko is a little bit too slow nowadays. Every time I open it up, it lags everything. Look at this. Like I don't know why. So yeah, haven't seen any pullbacks on Olympus DAO market cap. Right, it is what it is. Right. We've been watching this ever since these levels at 500 million in market cap over the past month. And the first time that it broke the $500 million market cap, we said, okay, if it continues to hold above that for half a week, that means it's the first breakout above the previous all-time high. In this case, the all-time high in market cap, in which case that would be an amazing entry because the price discovery or the market cap discovery in this case will likely accelerate right after. And that's what we saw, right? So it has since given us pretty much a 2x on that. Congrats if you've held it and staked it. I wouldn't be entering anymore right now because it's just like straight up trajectory, right? Wouldn't bet against it either because it's in a clear uptrend, but just the fact that there's no clear entry where you can really limit your potential loss. So yeah, but nonetheless, this is one of the hottest trends to watch right now. And if by any chance it comes back to, let's say, 500 million market cap, which is, I think it's going to be quite a stretch. I would still pick it up even more, but yeah, can't really enter right now. It's just going straight up, so not a good idea. Okay, moving on to some other altcoins. There is one that I have covered actually not way back, but about a month and a half ago, before kind of Bitcoin really started to take off from 30K, which was Quant. So this was specifically interesting because in the months of May, June, July, when Bitcoin was looking very iffy, Quant has gone up like 4x. So that kind of resilience in a corrective period shows incredible strength for a altcoin. Shows that it's an outperformer. So that's why this is something very useful to watch. And let me just bring up the chart here on actually trading view, Coin USDT. Yeah, so far, still can't really make a very decent entry on this because the previous all-time high here, right around $200. So I wonder if there's a even longer term chart. USD calculated. Okay, not really. KuCoin maybe? Yeah, we didn't have any higher all-time highs, right? So, wow, look at this chart. That's impressive. Interesting. So this has just been consistently doing higher highs and higher lows, right? Very good example, right? After kind of breaking out from this all-time high here, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and then we kind of need to respect this higher low here. So mapping that level there, that's right around there, $183-ish. So I wouldn't say this is as clear of a trade setup as the AVAX, Luna, ALGO, Cosmos, right? Because it's not at not at support. But this is a very clear uptrend, actually. So as long as it can hold above 183, right, which was the previous higher low, I'm actually willing to bet on this pretty much. I wouldn't say right now, but anything in this zone, let's say take like 270, right, which is the current dip, to close to the previous higher low, right? Maybe we can look at 4 hour. Yeah, something like this zone here, right? This is all kind of buy target for me. So yeah, not much to say there, actually, because not only that, but when we are able, if we're making an entry, even like right now, right, we can clearly see the potential downside we can limit, right? So let's say we even make an entry just right now. Potential downside is where we can set the stop loss, which is below the previous higher low, right? In this case, this low was 183. So if you set a stop loss at 170, that will make it much very clear, right? Because if price gets as low as 170, it would have broken market structure, right? It would have broken below 180, which means the long-term uptrend has come to a stop, right? It has made a lower low. At that point, your trade is invalidated, right? So because this is still kind of quite far away, obviously the ideal entry is like much closer to 170. But seeing how strong it has been since pretty much June, yeah. So when Bitcoin was still consolidating in the correction, not a bad bet for quant, actually. Not a bad bet. Looking at a bit shorter term, let's see. Okay, I'm willing to bet that there's some kind of bullish divergence here. RSI. Yeah. So the price has printed a lower high, lower low there, while RSI. Can I? Come on, here. While the RSI has printed a higher low. So that's what you call a bullish divergence. And looks like we are starting to print in a short-term higher low there. So good sign. Wouldn't say we're necessarily in the clear yet. So there's a kind of a trading range here from 320 and below here 260, right? So I'd say yeah, looking at just longer term, it's already still pretty decent entry. But very short term entry could be that break above 320, buy on the retest, or if it comes back down to kind of make a third lower low here. And if at that point RSI can continue to make a higher low, confirming even more divergence, then right around 270 is also a good pickup range. So yeah, two setups I can see, but good pick regardless. Yeah, watching Quant very closely. I might make an entry on this soon. If I do, I'll make a update tomorrow or a TikTok video. Yeah, so look out for that. But Quant is a decent pick. And then moving on, medium risk picks. The top coins in the AVAX ecosystem, right? So this kind of fits into. Actually, I think we should talk about Phantom as well, because that's also another layer one that is very hot. Pretty much very similar to AVAX, all of its narratives, right? Again, this has a previous all-time high right around 93 cents. And yeah, first retest here already complete. Bounce is starting to come in. So right around something like 90 cents, good entry level for Phantom. Okay. And then we were also looking at Trader Joe, which is the leading DEX in the AVAX ecosystem. So it's kind of an extension of the AVAX trend. And for this, we have to use ChartX to chart it. But so far, less than 300 million market cap, still pretty decent. And I believed, wow, $4.30, that's crazy. I don't remember what it was at on Monday, but it was like under 3. Let's see here. We'll do maybe 5 more minutes and then we'll do Q&A. Joe, you. Boom. Yeah. Sadly, this doesn't remember my charts. Mouse is starting to run out of battery. But yeah, so previous all-time high range was right around $2.60, $2.70-ish. And if we look at daily chart, my God, what's that weird candle? Yeah, so right on Monday, we actually dipped right at this level, and you see a huge pump after that. So congrats if you, again, followed this call. What was this? This was like 60% there. So pretty proud of this. I didn't have a huge position in this because this is a bit medium risk instead of low risk, right? Because market cap is relatively lower. It's at like under 300 million. But still continuing to hold Joe, right? Really good entry there. Yeah, not much to say. Yak is another one that we were watching. Yield Yak. This is one of the other leading plays in the AVAX ecosystem. And this has also seen a pretty significant rally, just bounced back 40%. Haven't broken above the previous all-time high yet. So I would say this is a little bit easier to enter than Joe right now. And bit of a trend line there. Logarithmic is probably the better scale here. Yes, it is. Yep. So right around that, if I can. Okay. Yeah, so this trend line was used as resistance. Used as resistance here, used as resistance here, broke out above it, now used as support 3 times and bounced from it, right? So very clear for that. And as well as we have had kind of a triple bottom here, right? And then when price started to rally, right, we had a bit of a higher low here, and this low respected the previous higher low. So another good sign. Now we can move our stop loss right to around $10,000, right? Because that's the higher low we just made. Yeah, so far so good. I say even at these levels, it's a pretty decent entry because we're only looking at something like 31, 30, 33%, right? Stop loss. But remember, this is like very this is much higher risk pick than the kind of large caps, right? So promising, right, for those kind of stop loss levels. Risk still isn't too high yet, relatively speaking, comparing to Joe, right? Because Joe has already seen a very major rally. And another entry opportunity I could see is if it breaks another all-time high, right, at 15,000, right? Then first retest of the all-time high, right? Typical pattern that we watch. Right here, also good entry, right? Yeah, not much to say. Looking forward to continue holding Yak as the leading yield aggregator on the AVAX ecosystem, as the AVAX ecosystem is hot and continues to grow. Yeah, that's about it for Yak and Joel, and those are the two top picks I have for AVAX ecosystem. I think maybe also worth a look is AVA Launch, which is the leading launch pad in the AVAX ecosystem. And you see this chart is very similar to that of Joel, to that of Yak, actually. So yeah, pretty much identical, actually. So bit of a trend line there. We had a low, higher low made, right? Still need to take out the previous all-time high here, right around $5.20, but so far so good, right? As long as we respect $3.40, I will continue to hold because that's the higher low that we need to make. And if we can break above the previous all-time high of $5.20, then the first retest here, I'm looking to make an entry. Yeah, so far so good. Another strong outperformer. So yeah, the three that I'm holding in the AVAX ecosystem are Joe, Yak, and AVA Launch. There you go. Cool. Couple updates for like the individual picks that I have been talking about a lot. A major update for Lost Poets. So Lost Poets is an NFT play that's kind of pretty high risk that I covered, I think 3 weeks ago. And this is a sort of profile picture NFT drop by the world's second largest NFT artist, Murapak, called Lost Poets. And 3 weeks ago, they had a mint event where you could mint each pages, and there were 65,000 pages that are able to be minted. Each page cost 0.32 ETH. So they just made a major announcement. First off, in 48 hours or about 2 days, there will be the reveal, which by then you can convert these Lost Poets, which you can find on OpenSea collection here. Lost Poet pages. Boom. Yeah, so you can convert these pages here 1-to-1 into these AI generated profile picture NFTs, which will have even more utility. And that will be free, but only each page. The only way to get these is by holding these pages. So that's happening in 48 hours. And what's the biggest news? It's that Sotheby's, one of the world's, actually the top 2 of the world's traditional auction houses, Christie's and then Sotheby's, has tweeted that, okay, they are going to be hosting Lost Poets by Murapak soon, which is insane. Like, there are very few collections that are on these traditional auction houses. So I did not expect this at all, but super bullish news. And very quickly following this, right, you see that the floor for the pages has risen to close to 1 ETH, which is like already 3x since I talked about it. And I believe a couple of days after the mint, these were trading at right around 0.32 to 0.4 ETH. It never went below the mint price, but it was very close. So hopefully some of my followers were able to pick it up. And also, one of the largest collectors, Pranksy, in the NFT space, Pranksy, Lost Poets, he or she picked up here. Pranksy picked up 340 pages, as you can see here on OpenSea. 340 pages, 1 ETH each. So he or she spent 340 ETH on this, which is kind of insane. Like, that's even still above the current price. So big expectations for this. Like, I don't know how high it's going to go, but I'm very, very excited for the next 2 days. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll do another stream tomorrow, hopefully to cover the reveal once it starts giving us more details. But yeah, this is actually my wallet. I hold 144 of these, but it's in my other wallet. You can check it out on my OpenSea. Yeah, I did not expect this, so look out for this. This is getting very, very heated right now. In fact, I think this is the top traded collection on OpenSea today, if I saw that correctly. Boom. Oh, okay. I think this is probably unique holders. Yeah, the most unique holders for NFT collection, Lost Poets. I think that's what this means. But yeah, that's NFT play for you. Continue to follow this. Yeah, let's do Q&A. We have about 13 minutes to do Q&As. So let's get started. Let's go through Discord first, events chat. Is this live? Yes, you can say stuff in the chat right now. Dennis will probably respond when he sees it. Yeah, so Daniel, what's up? Yeah, so I just needed to go through all of the planned stuff before we get into the Q&A so that it doesn't get lost. Looks so similar to another video I watched, so I was confused. Yeah, I kind of just I want to do this at the same format from now every day. So let me bring it up like this. Oops. Kilma and Page has been dope best months ever. Yeah, so Kilma DAO is another good opportunity that unfortunately is not available anymore. So I did make a video about this, but I talked about this in the Big Now Discord. It's a project similar to Olympus DAO, and some of the Olympus DAO founders are their advisors, like Zeus and what's the other guy's name? I don't remember, but Zeus is one of their advisors, who is the founder of Olympus DAO. So basically, Kilma DAO is has a very similar structure as Olympus DAO of how they make money, but instead of collecting stablecoins and liquidity pool tokens, they collect carbon credits, tokenized carbon credits. So it's a project aimed at sustainability and with the same pattern of Olympus DAO. So they had a token sale last week, which lasted 3 days. Anyone could have entered, and price ranged in the token sale between $60 to $300. And their token supply, I think it was 177K, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just bring that up. Nope, wrong link. Wrong link. This is the link. So I had 177K total supply. Oh, not even 120K here. Wow, they're trading at $800. That's crazy. Yeah, so this is already fully diluted valuation, 100 million, kind of high already. So I wouldn't say it's still a opportunity, but the price range in last week's token sale was between $60 to $300, and it was completely open. Anyone could have bought in. So, yeah, that's another big reason why you should join the Bacon DAO Discord. Is we give out these huge alpha. What happened with XE scholarships? We're still doing it. Luke and Bamzo are our scholarship managers. They just got their hardware wallets, so we want to make sure it's secure, right? So they each have a hardware wallet, and we will be allocating the funds for them to get the Axie and the SLP to get started soon, but that's coming. Can you cover KSM? We did actually earlier in this call. Still in a buy range, and parachain auctions are still happening, so still bullish on KSM. Can you briefly cover CRO 4 hour? Yeah, I'm not too sure if CRO is kind of going to be a strong performer, just because when it comes to coins that have very strong fundamentals, but price-wise doesn't do anything, you got to think kind of critically about it, right? So CRO by far is like one of my favorite projects for adoption. I've been using it since February 2020, and it has been one of the smoothest experiences for getting gift cards, for staking, for their debit cards. They look sick. I get free Spotify, free Netflix, and all. Their exchange is good. They have DeFi. They have their own chain. There's so much. They have their own EVM chain even coming up. But price just never moved. It's crazy. And when price acts that way, you really have to think, okay, this project might not be driven by its fundamentals. Something weird is happening. So that's why, I'm not so keen on holding CRO anymore. It just lags behind so much, even though they're doing so much for actual adoption. So I don't know. For a project that I've just described that have done so much for the past year, you would have expected that it would have at least broken above the DeFi Summer's all-time high, right? Which was right here, August 2020. But it's not. Look at this. It's still at the same level. So what's happening, right? So yeah, when price is doing that, you have to reconsider. So I used to be a very strong believer, but it has just like completely worn me out that I don't know what's happening anymore. At some point, you just have to say, okay, maybe this is not a project that you want to look at the fundamentals for, because something else is going on. So yeah, I wouldn't be too keen on taking positions in CRO. I would definitely recommend using their product. And maybe that's why. Maybe they're marketing their product and they have revenues elsewhere, but they're not so keen on growing their token price. Maybe that's why. But their product is great. I mean, they support Canadian credit cards for buying crypto, for cashing out to Canadian banks. Card works well. Like everything that I've described, everything that they said, great services. But coin doesn't do well, so can't invest. Could be a sleeping giant. I wouldn't say so. No. It only sleeps so far, but it doesn't make sense for somebody to sleep for a year, So, yeah. What are you researching right now? Any early alpha? Spell, Popsicle. I wouldn't say time, but Spell and Popsicle very early, I think. Dave Ether, I know you know about it already, but very under the radar. Spell and Popsicle. C98 is an interesting coin. So C98 is a multi-chain wallet / ecosystem that supports like any chain you can think of, like Solana, Ethereum, Polkadot, Kusama. I don't know if they support Polkadot, but they support like Polygon, any EVM chain, and Solana, right? So in this kind of multi-chain future, I could see a big play for C98. So Coin98 wallet and Coin98 exchange, but haven't really taken a position in them just yet. Nonetheless, good project. But I don't have a specific target for it yet. So yeah, but I can say that it's a very legit project tech wise and product market fit wise. So okay, let's go through some of the comments and questions in YouTube and Twitter. Used to be bullish on YFI. How about now? YFI is another one of those cases where it has been undervalued for so far until that, like at some point, right? Even though it's very dramatically undervalued in comparison to other DeFi protocols, but if that undervaluation doesn't play out and it doesn't pump while the other supposedly overvalued and leading protocols have pumped, then you have to reconsider, right? So I used to look at YFI as one of the DeFi blue chips, alongside Uniswap, Aave, Compound, but just very briefly comparing YFI to Uni side by side. You see that since the DeFi summer highs at $7.50, right? Uni is currently holding really well above like $20, while DeFi summer highs for YFI, what was that? 40K, and YFI has never broken above that. So that's not a good sign. That shows like whatever the narrative is, YFI hasn't caught up, right? And if you can look at other leaders in the DeFi space, right? Aave, for example, another good example here, right? Previous all-time high for Aave in DeFi summer 2020. Look at this, $100. Aave is currently holding $300. So that's a 3x, while YFI is still 0x. It's just holding still. So not a good sign. It is when the trend is there and you think it's a short-term lag where, okay, everything in DeFi is taken off, this one is quickly going to start following, then that's a good bet. But if the trend is already like played out, but the coin still hasn't moved and still hasn't followed, then that means fundamentally it hasn't caught up. It's something that's wrong. It's not a blue chip, right? So in this case, if I were to look at Uni, Aave versus YFI, I would say Uni, Aave are way more blue chip than YFI now. So it is what it is, right? So you could apply that to the same narrative as in the layer ones, right? Solana has clearly established itself as a blue chip, right? It's leading. AVAX is starting, Luna is starting, ALGO is starting, Cosmos, right? All of these might not have be able to catch up to Sol and do a 3x, right? Some of them will, some of them won't. By that point, we will have a much clearer picture as to say, okay, Sol has done a 3x above its previous all-time high in this kind of layer one season, so it's a blue chip. If AVAX does it, okay, AVAX is also leading. If Algo does it, Algo is leading. If another chain, let's say Cosmos, doesn't do it, then you kind of have to abandon it. Not saying necessarily that's going to happen. It might just be that Cosmos pumps 3x while the other ones lag behind. At some point, because we're positioned in all of these in the same narrative, the ones that are popping, you keep them. The ones that just never catches on, you have to take a hint and say, okay, something's wrong with these. Their ecosystem aren't doing great, or their developers, or whatever, their team, their exchanges, something's wrong. So you cut the losers and you ride the winners. That's the strategy within the same narrative. So that's why, looking at YFI versus Uni, Aave, it's not a leader. So I don't hold any YFI right now. Unfortunately, that narrative did not play out for YFI's case. Okay, how about quant? Yeah, we analyze quant. I'll put the chart. I'll put the timestamps there. Egoed. That's an interesting one to look up. Egoed is Algorand. No, Algorand. Yeah, very similar. So again, one of those layer one narrative leaders, right? I would say previous all-time high range, like between $200 to $230, right, would be my kind of entry point. Seeing a decent bounce, right? So yeah, again, following AVAX, Luna, Cosmos, Algorand, right? Eagled, same narrative, same setup, right? I'll probably get an entry in Eagled as well. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean that it will follow suit. If it doesn't, I'll have to cut the loser. So we'll see. Okay. And let's see if there are any other good questions. If you were to enter now, AVAX or Trader Joe, what would you do? Lewis, looking at Joe AVAX chart, not financial advice, obviously more risk with Joe. On that note, do you have a preferred ratio of token ecosystem to its sub ecosystem? Yeah, so I like to take on more risk. So for the AVAX ecosystem, at the very least, I have same amount of AVAX dollar wise, right? Same amount of AVAX versus Joe versus Yak. So I don't actually have that much of the token native asset itself. Yeah, so that's what I prefer because I like risk, but if you are more risk averse, the AVAX coin itself is definitely less risky than Joe and Yak and Avalanche. What do you suggest, holding pages or minting into Poet? I would definitely mint into Poet. Are you looking at Celo's ecosystem plays? I haven't. If you have any good picks, please send them in the chat, actually. Did you cover Spell already? I haven't covered it, but Spell is kind of in parabolic now, so I don't know what you can even do about it. To be honest, it's very strong now. So yeah, look at this chart. It's like, what is this? It's funny. Since kind of last week, it's up like 3x. Yeah. Better chart for it is probably CoinGecko. Yeah, I have quite a bit of Spell. It's one of my larger bags. I still think it's undervalued, but that's about all I can say. The entry here isn't too clear. It's so laggy. CoinGecko, come on. Gecko, come on. Oh my god. I'm starting to really not like CoinGecko just because how slow it is. Yeah. Come on. Yeah, so right around 0.17, 0.2 cents was a pretty good entry. So that was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's pretty much parabolic now. So now the kind of let's use DEX tools for this. DEX tools. Pair Explorer. Let me bring up the larger charts. Spell. Here. And come on. Okay, Zoom. Full screen, daily. Dollar chart. No, that's ETH chart. Dollar chart. Here we go. Yeah. So I'd say, yeah, this is actually very clear. So previous all-time high here, right? Which was back here, right? As well as a bit of tests right here. So right around 0.16 cents, right? That was a very decent entry. However, we're kind of past that. So yeah, if we get any entries in this zone, right, between anything close to 0.16 cents, very good entry. If we look at shorter term, it's starting to print very clear higher highs and higher lows, right? Higher low here, higher low here, higher low here. So not much we can do in this case besides just writing it. So I'm continuing to write it. I'd say if you are in a very aggressive mode, then something close to 0.3 cents. Decent entry because that's the previous higher low, which was also the last higher high. Yeah, so something like 0.3 cents. Yeah. This is a very fundamental play, right? So what is Spell? Spell is the product is the Abracadabra. They are kind of the multi-chain, multi-collateral MakerDAO equivalent. Lots of big backers behind it. So looking at its market cap, which is only at 300 million right now, right? 230 million. Very promising when you compare it to Maker, which is like 2.2 billion, right? So yeah, very good stuff. If it comes back to 0.3 cents, I'd probably pick up a lot more. Okay, so that's for Spell. Dang, pranks to be over 145 pages. Yeah, but I got in at 0.32, right? He had to get in at 1 ETH. Okay, I think that's about it for today. I see some like shows for your individual coins. I'm not going to go into those. But overall, I see some like, FTT people are interested in, YGold, AVAX, Harmony, ALGO, Phantom. Yeah, like all of these are good picks, right? Assuming that we are in just a very short-term dip for Bitcoin, and layer ones are very good narrative to be behind right now, and assuming that Bitcoin continues to hold above 38K, which is very key. In that case, all season is likely to continue, and the hottest trend right now is layer one ecosystems and the ecosystem main place, which is their DEXs, their yield aggregators, their launchpads, right? All of those are good plays. Aside from that, play to earn is also very hot. You got Olympus style, so the kind of that narrative is very hot. Quant and the individual outliers that have done super well in the May to July correction. Also, those are good to watch. All good picks, right? At the end of the day, these are all good picks. You have to look at the bigger picture, which is Bitcoin holding 38K. Alt season dominated by Bitcoin dominance continues to go down. In which case, all of these coins that I've just mentioned, good picks. Yeah, so that's about it for today. Oracle narrative isn't so hot right now. Yeah, Chainlink hasn't been outperforming, so I wouldn't bet on Chainlink so far. Favorite Solana wallet, Phantom. Phantom is what I use. Cool, that's about it. Thanks, guys, for joining today's call. I see Lavitz asked Harmony 1 match layer 1 incentive narrative. Yeah, Harmony is also a decent bet. They're kind of late to the party, but still the same narrative. So not ruling them out. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you guys. I'll try to go live again right around the same time tomorrow. for another hour or so call to cover the markets, go over these trend picks again. If anything new has popped up, go over Lost Poets, do Q&A. Yep. Look out for this replay that will be live on YouTube, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.